have a nice mix. And what you've done is you've kind of effectively explained, because I actually have another question lined up to you, which was, what would be some of the hard questions if I was a VAR and I'm talking to a customer? What should I be asking the customer? Okay, when we get into the subject of shared storage, and in a way you answered many of those questions right there. Um, so
And Bruce, by the
yeah,
way, I want to mention. I think I mentioned it the first time I spoke to you, but one of the biggest, seriously biggest drivers of our product sales and of our business is virtualization. I
oh
mean, I
yes,
think I mentioned this before that
yes,
when I was speaking to VMware earlier this year, this literally came from VMware. They said that um, for every dollar spent on VMware, $5 is spent on storage, and
wow,
um, and I think it's actually more. I think VMware is being conservative. I think it could be a lot more. I don't have it precisely analyzed, but I'm sure it's in Gartner or IDC reports out there that people spend a heck of a lot more on storage because you only need so many VMware licenses, but your data keeps growing and growing and growing. And with StarWind, you don't need to buy this really expensive $60,000 or $100,000 hardware appliance from one of the legacy traditional storage vendors.
right,
You just get yourself a standard server that's Intel based, you install StarWind, and you got pretty much the same SAN configuration and
right.
technology that you would with spending 10 or 20 times more than that.
Mm. So you're getting all the functionality at a fraction of the price, is what you're saying.
Yes, and just to be conservative, I would say you're getting certainly at least 80% of the functionality. I mean, there's certainly some levels of features that we don't have that some of these big vendors have had for a while. But if you ask a lot of the users whether they even know that those features exist and
Uh,
whether they've ever even used those features, typically you'll get a no.
Yeah, it's called the law of diminishing returns.
Right.
There comes a
Exactly.
point, is that extra money really worth that small little bump that we're going to get in these features?
Well, that's
Probably
exactly
not.
right.
It
That is
probably
exactly
not.
right. So the consultants listening to your show, as long as they know that somebody's using virtualization, whether it's VMware or Hyper-V or Xen server, they're going to need shared storage. I mean, there's no question about it. That's a guarantee.
Okay. Um, we have a question from one of the audience members here, and if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and let me take a look here. Uh, he goes by the nick Calm Chess. He wants to know about the how easy is it to break uh, into when sending over the network. Apparently, he's concerned about security.
That's a very good question. So we have security features in our product that that we urge people to test. I mean, this is a great question, and we've never had any trouble or problems from any customers complaining about any breach of security. I mean, we have CHAP, we have IPsec, um, service authentication, ISNS, access rights, interface binding, you name it. Um, they will encrypt, IPsec, for instance, it encrypts data between the storage host and the initiator. We have all of those security features in our product. And again, I urge folks out there to download our product. We actually have a free product, but they should download the Enterprise Trial and soon to come the high availability, the Enterprise HA, which is the new 5.0 version that we're going to be calling.
Okay.
And try it out and try to see what they think, and I welcome feedback.
Well, you hear that, right? I want everybody in the chat room, at least if you have access to a Windows server, download the enterprise version and give it a try. You'll see how actually it's fairly simple to get set up and going. That's one of the things StarWind prides itself on, is the how easy it is to get started implementing a SAN. Another question is, wants to know how different this product is from OpenFiler. which is, I guess, an open source type project. We're
I
getting some
love it.
laughter here from Zorian, but please,
No, no, no.
we get some Linux fans on here and open source
No, no, no,
fans,
no, 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 no.
and so
Let
it's
me
it's a
explain why I'm
valid
laughing
question.
about that. That it's really funny that no, this is a very good question. Um, the reason I'm actually laughing is because when we started out at this company, we were asked about Open Filer, and we got spun out of another company that's been doing this for 6 years. And when we started out about a year ago, by changing the name to StarWind and spinning it out, we had a bunch of questions about Open Filer, but we haven't been asked that question, I would say, for probably like 10 months already. I think people have learned quite a lot about us, that the features that we have set us far apart from the Open Filer open source product. Um, so we haven't been asked that for a while, and I was just laughing, reminiscing about a year ago when we were asked that question a lot, and we still had to figure out how to articulate it better. So I would say that there's a number of things. We have a lot of features um, that OpenFiler doesn't have. I would say that the most obvious one going forward is going to be the active high availability with automated failover. That feature, I would even hate to call it a feature, is a technology in itself. Um, just puts us so far away from the standard iSCSI solutions that are out there, like OpenFiler, that it's going to be very obvious to people why we're different. But right now, I would say, first of all, we're Windows-based. OpenFiler is Linux-based. So for the Windows administrators out there, we are the primary choice. They're not, majority of Windows administrators are not going to go work with a Linux solution. Some will, but not all. And then we're simply ahead of the game in terms of cluster support. From what I understand, kind of remembering and reminiscing about the good old times, but a year ago when people asked us a lot about OpenFiler, I remember that we just, we have cluster support that I don't think OpenFiler can do. I really don't think they can do it still. But again, I was laughing because I haven't looked at OpenFiler in like a year or so.
Right.
So um, Windows Server cluster support, high availability that's actually active with automated failover and failback and fast synchronization. Um, and I would probably think, and again, I'm laughing because I don't recall, what were the other things we talked about, a year ago when people asked us about OpenFiler, but I don't think they have synchronous data mirroring. They may have a form of replication. I'm not sure if it works exactly the same way. I'm also not quite sure if they have VSS compatible snapshots.
Hmm.
So I guess I would have to look it up to be more precise. But again, I'm laughing because I haven't been asked this in such a long time that this one is just coming from kind of the recess of my mind.
Well, no, we appreciate you taking the time to answer the question. And we do have a community that is very varied, relatively varied in their interests. We have some Apple fanatics in here and fans. We have Linux lovers out there. We have Windows people. So just kind of a very diverse audience that
Oh,
watch the show.
absolutely. And we listen. We don't support Linux, but we have great respect for the Linux community. You know, all the guys here worked, in one form or shape, with Linux products in the past,
Hmm.
and obviously I'm a huge Apple fan, so we support the diverse
I
community.
did not know that, Zorian.
I love that. And I, and I
And
have an
that makes
iPhone,
you a
just for
buddy
the
of mine
record.
right there.
So yeah, I do have to mention that we only work on Windows. The technology, the CTO of our company, who's the co-founder of this company, he strategically chose to support only Windows,
Hmm.
believing that Windows is a very powerful platform that in many instances